What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Bull, Season 2, Episode 9, Thanksgiving. So, similar to NCIS, this is the last episode before, the one episode in December, and then probably won't return until mid-January. So, this one... It's obviously the Thanksgiving episode, so everybody's heading home for Thanksgiving, talking about their different plans. And so the show follows pretty much everybody on their Thanksgiving plans. You've got Cable, who apparently doesn't want to go home to her parents, and so she just goes out and hangs out with some friends, which I've actually had a few friends of my own with this new, I don't know if this is like a this year thing, but Friendsgiving is apparently a thing now. This is the third time I've heard it in the past week, so I guess this is something that people do now. It's like, yeah, let's go hang out with friends, and that's Friendsgiving instead of Thanksgiving, because we're with friends instead of with thanks. Rename that. But anyway, so yeah, she's doing that. You got Chunk, who's going home with his family. He's dealing with his baby mama, trying to keep their daughter from going to New York to go to school. And she wants her to stay in Georgia. So he's trying to convince her, hey, let her come to New York. And then at the end of the episode, he's like, maybe she should find out who her real father is. So, like I said, I guess it's his baby mama. We never really had any indication that he used to be with this another woman. He's been gay from pretty much the beginning of the seasons or this series. So I was not aware that at once he had the relations with a woman, and on top of that had a kid. So yeah, I don't know what's going on there, but he wants her to come to New York. The mom says no, and so no real resolution there. We see Danny. She just showed up randomly at MTAC to help Bull out with the case. She was just hanging out with her family. We didn't actually get to see her that much. Benny is in an airport waiting for a plane to take off, but then it gets delayed, so then he starts hanging out with this woman who looks like she's much, much younger than him, but it turns out is about his age. So they hang out, and then he gives up his seat to get her back to her family, even though he could get back to his. And, it's just kind of one of those one-night romances, because that's realistic, I remember last time I was in an airport, and me and this one girl started talking, and now we're in love. It didn't happen, obviously, because that just doesn't happen in real life, but, whatever. So they exchanged numbers. We probably will never see this woman again, if I had to guess, because that's kind of what the show does. And then we see Marissa. She's talking to, what's his name? Kevin, I think. I don't know. It's the guy that was going through all of her personal stuff. He shows back up at her house for the first time that we've seen him since she kind of blew up on him for going through all of his stuff. And I remember talking about how in that episode they made it seem like he was doing a good thing. She felt like at the end of the episode, oh, maybe I was too harsh on him for going through all of my personal finance stuff. No, he weren't, because nobody in the right mind would do that. Well, this episode turns out I was right. He shows up at her house. He's got like bruises and stuff, said he got mugged. So she says, don't worry, I'll help you out. He manages to get on a plane going to China. And so she's calling to talk about her hotel. I think that she was trying to go to Florida. And it turns out all of her money is gone, and then her credit card is maxed out. And so she realizes, oh no, maybe it was Kevin. And so at the end of this episode, we see her looking through a bunch of like the NSA database, the FBI database, trying to find out more about him. So yeah, probably that night he was going through all the personal finances. He was probably getting information to use later. So I guess whenever somebody randomly decides to snoop into your personal finance stuff, they really are a bad person. Who knew, I had no clue whatsoever. So yeah, that happened. And then we got the case for this episode, which Bull works on. I did like the beginning of this episode. We see everybody leaving, and then Marissa comes into Bull's office, and she's just like, hey, everybody's gone. Are you ready? He's like, absolutely. And then walks out of the office like, my God, it's glorious. And then it shows it's like 3 big TV screens with football playing. I'm just like, that's funny. That's a good use of MTAG property. So yeah, that's his plan, but then he gets stopped. The case for this one, kind of interesting with a poor conclusion in my opinion. This one guy, told by the mafia, I guess, to throw a fight, which he felt like he could win because they're going to make money off of it. You've seen this before if you watch any TV show that involved a boxer. So of course he's fighting. At one point though, he gets knocked down and he gets this thought in his mind. He's like, no, what? No, I'm not going to do this. So he knocks the guy out, and then he goes home with his wife and then finds a dead body in his car. So now he's getting framed for it. Bull decides to take on the case. The judge, though, is being very harsh with the jury selection, so they don't get to pick a jury of their choosing. It's just what they've got. Bull feels like the jury is completely against their client, so he's like, what am I going to do? Finds out about him not throwing the fight and that he pissed off the mafia. So he goes to him, he's like, look, give me a name. Then he goes to this mafia guy and says, look, you're missing out on a prime opportunity here. So then he convinces him to let the charges be dropped so that way they can use him as their new prize fighter. It doesn't feel right to me. It doesn't feel like a victory. It feels like you just seriously compromised and gave the mafia what they wanted and didn't even help this guy out, really. Yes, he was going to go to jail and now he's free, but he's not really free. He's still in his own sort of prison because he has to keep fighting for the mafia. Yes, maybe it'll work out. Maybe he'll be able to fight, get some money off of it. Maybe that one day that he's talking about at the end of the episode will come where he says, hey, throw the fight. Maybe this time he'll say, okay, I will. But it just doesn't feel like a victory for him because now he's just fighting for the mafia. His family is still in danger. He's still got a problem. So, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like this was a victory. It feels just kind of like a crude compromise that they just sort of shrug off and say, whatever. He's still involved with the mafia. They've still got a hold on his life and his family. So, good job, Bull. Job well done. Let's just move on. That doesn't feel right to me. It feels like something else should have happened. It feels like either Bull finds a way to take down the mafia, talking to the AD and saying, hey, look, there's bigger fish to fry here. Or maybe they find out just who framed him. They find some clues or some new information that proves that he didn't do it. But no, none of that. Not even anything to do with trial science, which is what the show most of the time is about. There wasn't even any of that in this one. He just says, I don't think we have any of the jury on our side. And then that's it. We see one other scene where the district attorney is questioning one of his neighbors who doesn't like him and saying, hey, he killed the guy. I saw them arguing. I saw him pushing him. Even though that never happened. She perjured herself on the stand, and we never find out why. We never find out who told her to perjure herself. We never even find out if she's even responsible for perjuring herself. She just perjures herself, lies about it, and then never see her again. And so it felt like a really messy episode. It felt like there was potential there, seeing all the team hanging out in their different Thanksgiving Day rituals and stuff. But the case itself just fell flat. And that was kind of the main thing about this episode is the case. It seemed like an interesting case. It seemed like the driving force, the stuff on the side with them and their families. That's interesting enough. But the case is really what takes center stage. And the fact that it was so poorly executed means this episode just fell flat for me. And this is like the second or third time that this show has done this in these two seasons. They've just had this one episode. There was one last season that just fell flat in its execution at the end of it. Same for this one. Overall, it was like, okay, where's this leading? And at the end of it, it leads nowhere. And it just sort of done. So, I don't know. I feel like there's so much more they could have done. I feel like the potential was there, but it was wasted. And I feel like they're just sort of writing everything off. Just all these problems, whatever, done. So, yeah, that's about it for this episode. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on this episode? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Bull reviews. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.